Donald Trump's recent threats of tariffs on Canadian goods entering the U.S. has more and more Nova Scotians thinking about buying local. And for more on this, I'm in Windsor with Sheena Russell, owner of Made with Local.
Yeah.
So first off, what have the past few weeks been like for you?
They've been pretty wild, honestly. It's kept a lot of small business owners like myself on the edge of our seats and just trying to reach out and find as much information as we can about what all of this means for us in real time, because small businesses move fast and the news has been moving a lot faster.
Well, local is right in your name. How hard is it to source things from close by rather than going far afield?
Yeah, I mean, we're so lucky here in Canada that we have access to incredible locally grown foods. So this is something that we really started doing 10 years ago back at the farmers market, and it's baked right into our name, as you can tell. And it's something that we've really committed to over time. With our growth, despite our growth, we've continued to invest in farmer and producer relationships here in Canada. So I think it's, second nature to us, and it's something that we're really keen to help other small businesses here in Canada get more experience with.
Have you seen a shift recently?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, even in the last couple of days there's been a massive uptick in founders and entrepreneurs in my circles in the food and beverage space looking to reallocate their supply chains to Canadian producers, and it's music to my ears.
Are folks a bit nervous?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that as a small Canadian food or beverage brand, we know that the market in the US for natural food products is literally 10x plus what it is here in Canada. So if you're looking to make those big leaps in growth in your business, a lot of brands will kind of skip over really saturating Canada and go into the US. So I have a lot of really close friends who've got incredible food businesses who've put a lot of investment and time and energy into growing into the US, and this has just been a total shocker for them.
Well, what has been your advice for them?
Yeah, so we've, a lot of solidarity and just listening, I think, is what a lot of founders in my industry are just hoping to get right now. My advice I reached out to so many folks and said, listen, how can I help? How can we help connect you with some of the farmers and food producers in our network that we've built over the last decade? And that's really been the thing that I'm, trying to offer as much as I can.
Now, there's been a month pause on possible tariffs. Is that a sigh of relief, or just buy more time?
I think it's a little bit of relief. This has all happened pretty quickly, especially again in like the small business world. It's really hard to move as fast as the news has been changing. So it has definitely been a bit of relief, and it gives folks a little bit of time to kind of get their ducks in a row and make any changes that they can. So but still, I think there's still a lot of anxiety.
Mm-hmm. The supply chain must be a big part of that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Do you notice more consumers are checking out your goods? Mm-hmm. What are they saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so incredible seeing the uprising of support for Canadian brands and local foods. Honestly, again, this is something that we've been championing for over a decade now. It's really what we're all about. So seeing like mainstream Canadians rallying around small, independent, locally owned food brands has been something that's been absolutely incredible to witness. And it's, all over our social media. We're seeing it everywhere, and it just feels amazing.
Now, there are a lot of folks who were having trouble making ends meet to begin with, plus this added pressure of also buying local.
100%.
Do you think people can do a little bit to help, or what do you think the common feeling should be for folks out there when they shop?
Absolutely. I think it's something, Nova Scotia has the highest rate of child poverty in the country. Food insecurity is a massive issue in Nova Scotia. I really do believe that long-term solutions to solving some of our food insecurity here in Nova Scotia does come back to having better infrastructure around local food systems and making it so that local food isn't actually more expensive in some instances than stuff that's come from halfway across the world. So that's something that I know is a longer term solution, but in the moment, the solution, or not the solution, but piece of advice that I'd like to offer anybody who's kind of feeling this tension around cost of living versus wanting to buy local is honestly just like every little bit matters, even if it's going to grab your coffee at a local cafe instead of a chain from outside the country. Like that's every tiny bit matters, and I think that everybody just, being aware of it and being vocal about it and doing your best in little baby steps is more than enough.
And also, besides buying Nova Scotian, should there buy Canadian at least be a layer in that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really, it's about intentional decisions, and we use the phrase like conscious consumerism around here. Lots of us do have the power every single day, by voting with our dollars on what we decide to spend our money on. And I think, buying ultra local is incredible, buying Canadian is amazing, and just being more aware of where our food and our consumer items are coming from is just an awakening that I'm honestly really happy to see, despite how it came about.
Oh, sometimes the labeling's not actually all that clear either, correct? Like, how do you determine what is, a product of Canada or packaged in Canada or, has just a Canadian flag on it?
Right, yeah. So there is like regulatory rules around what you say on the package, depending on like what level of domestic manufacturing or agriculture is being represented on the package. So that's something, this is a CFIA regulated statement that you will find on food, and product of Canada and made in Canada both means that these things are obviously like made here on Canadian soil. So that's what you'll want to be keeping an eye out for.
Do you anticipate more companies turning inward, looking at local to find their supplies?
I mean, I really hope so, right? And that's something that we, again, have been doing for so long. And I think some folks might think, well, maybe Made with Local doesn't, maybe that's what their thing, and they might not want to be seeing many other brands participating in that space for, competition purposes. But we're like the complete opposite. I would love nothing more than to see other brands start to think more locally and sustainably about their supply chains. And we're really happy just to be that mentor and support to other brands looking to do that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much.